Hello and welcome to the Umbra case study. The purpose of this video is to take the lessons learned from the tutorial videos and bring them all together into a small case study in order to apply them in the order that a usual case flow would work in. If you have not seen the tutorial videos, I recommend watching them if you need any information on any specific aspect of the Umbra system. For a more lighthearted tone, the video will be a fictional study of Bigfoot and possible locations for the cryptid. Since there have been sightings of him around the world, I will focus on the Washington state area and the sightings and researchers who were prolific in the area. In addition, the video will include other tips regarding usage of Umbra X and ways to streamline data collection and analysis. Before diving into the case itself, I wanted to show how to activate Umbra X within the browser. Umbra X is not required, though it does make the process of data acquisition much easier. Later in the video, we will be making use of it in order to demonstrate its usefulness. In order to activate the Umbra X extension to the browser, go to the Show Sidebar button, press it, and then over here you'll see some of the options available. In order to get it running, make sure that you have your VPN functional, and I want you to look at the whatever your Umbra website is actually called, like ours here is Umbra-QA. So I will copy it, replace the local host here with the name of the website, and then enter your username and password, which the process in order to create those was covered in one of the earliest videos. Once you have those in, up here it will tell you if you have connected to the video. There will typically be one of three responses. Connected means you logged in. Unauthorized user means that you typed in the wrong username or password. And the third one will be something along the lines of error or unknown. And in that situation, there's something wrong with the Umbra X's ability to connect to the server. So just see what can be rectified from that until you finally receive the connected. Now we will be discussing the steps that you need to actually create your portfolio. The portfolio is the structure that all other information for a case study is contained in, and creating it is the first step to any case. There are going to be a few steps that you're going to have to go through, so you're going to have to input the necessary information for the case, create the portfolio, then attach a couple of documents in order to collect everything that you have related to the case thus far. The first step of creating a portfolio is, now that we're at the home page, we click the Portfolios button, and you just click the little plus in order to create a new portfolio. As of right now, since we're still in the creation phase, we're only able to modify two things within the portfolio, that being the title, which I will make to be Bigfoot, and then a brief description. So let's just say research into Washington Bigfoot sightings. Once you've done that, just hit the submit button. Now that the portfolio has been created, you can see that I'm now able to add things to the portfolio that I hadn't been able to do during creation. And at the bottom of the portfolio, you can see the Mark Closed button, which can only be done if you're the last person left on a portfolio. As standard practice, a triage document containing what the case is about, as well as any leads contained with the lead document, should be created. So if you click Case Docs, you can see that we already have a lead document, and in order to add a triage, we can see all the triage documents we have here. Click this to add a new triage document. Let's just call it Bigfoot triage, and any content that would be needed within it. Then you can submit it, and here you can see the completed triage document. And if you want to go back further in the portfolio, you can either use this mini bar here to see where you are, or you can click the top bar that has access to everything that's needed. Now I want to show something quickly. Let's go back to the home page. And as you go to the landing page for Umbra, you can see that the system has been set up to aid a specific workflow. The home page makes it easy to access any portfolio or any specific portion of a portfolio. So I can choose any of these portfolios, any triage, any lead, any target, This allows you, once you've set up all the information within the portfolio, you no longer have to go through the process of clicking portfolio, then finding the one that you want to access, and then just clicking all the way through. It just allows you to get started working where you left off. Now that we have created the portfolio, it's time to populate the portfolio with things relevant to the case. With this, we will be creating a couple targets. Targets allow for easy categorization of different data types related to one person. So let's say we have photos, videos, text documents, locations related to a person. We can put all those things together under him. And we can also put other things like aliases and known contacts that will allow us to form relations. Since all the information regarding Bigfoot is a variety of video, photography, and written information, it allows us to show you how versatile Umbra is, both in manually inputting the information and by using Umbra X to put the data from the website into the Umbra system without ever having to leave the page. So now let's demonstrate the creation of a couple of targets. Now I'm in the target page for portfolios. You do that by clicking portfolios and then going to the targets tab. And I have a couple targets already created for a later part in the video, but I just want to show you how to create a target fresh. So you click the plus button to start a new one. And the one specifically I want to look at is this Bigfoot sighting right here, spotted on Route 410. So let's just call this Route 410 Bigfoot. This will be filled in once it's generated. We don't know the sex, we don't know the gender, we don't know the racial heritage or the age. That allows us basic background. If you need to add names and aliases, you'll be able to do that after creation. Appearance, let's just give it max height because it was described as, over here, it was described as matted gray-brown hair with an extreme height. All right, weight, we don't know. Eyes, let's just say the clothing is matted gray-brown. And we can put that in here as well. You can also put in citizenship, birth data, death data. And once the target is actually created, you'll be able to add relations, which we'll be going to after I show how to do targets. And let's just create it and then manually input some data relating to the target. So for the Route 410, the only information we have is the date it was seen and also the location itself. So here on Google Maps, I'll go over here so that I can get the coordinates of where the Bigfoot was spotted. And let's go into the locations and let's add a new location. Let's call this sighting. Normally you'd be able to put in country or put in the address in order for the location to be tracked, but in this situation, since it's out in the middle of nowhere, all we have is the latitude and longitude, so I will just input those. Spotting for Bigfoot, only color and height determined from a distance. All right, we submit that, and the location has been saved. Let's go back to that target. And if we click here, we can see that the location with the coordinates has been created. Now I want to show you how to use Umbra. See, inputting data for specific targets is pretty straightforward, but it does take a lot of clicking through menus in order to get to the right place to start creating things. However, Umbra X allows us to go around that by never having to leave the page with the information that's necessary. So let's go to the Beaver Creek Bigfoot. This Bigfoot sighting only involved a print that was found in the forest, no sighting physically, just evidence left over. So as you can see, I guessed age here. And let's go and look into what materials are actually here from the web page. So as you can see here, we have two separate things. We have the print itself, we have an approximate location, statistics regarding the print, and the actual testimony as to when it was seen. So in order to use Umbra X, all you have to do is make sure you're logged in. Highlight the relevant information, right click it. You should see towards the bottom a little magnifying glass with Umbra X open source intelligence tool. Click that. And if we click this drop down with portfolio and target selection, let's bring it over to Bigfoot, Beaver Creek Bigfoot, and the selection processing. And the selection processing, here's where you'll see that stuff is actually prepared to be sent in. And as you can see here, we can choose the data class. So here, let's just call it materials, notes, new Umbra element, element tag. Let's just call it footprint. And once we have all of the classifications necessary, we then move it to pen. Move it to the pen. Oh, let's just leave this as blank. All right, now that it's moved to the pen, you'll see that the relevant information is here. And this is the final step before the information is sent off to Umbra. So all you have to do is click Update Umbra, and the information will be verified by the status up top. So let's go here, let's refresh. And as you can see here, not only is the information here, but we also have who visited, so analyst day shine, what time, what date, so it allows other analysts to know when information has been placed into the system and not just wonder why random information is here. All right, and in order to show that you can take multiple pieces of information at once, let's also put in the stats, and then we'll put in the photo just to show you that you can use multiple data types. All right. Let's put it under materials. Yep, it is part of the footprint element. You can either make it brand new or related. So let's make it related and update it. It's always good to have Umbra open when you're using Umbra X, just so if necessary you can verify that information has been sent to the right place or that information has been able to be sent off. The little status bar up here is typically what will tell you whether or not that's happened, but it's also good to just verify for yourself. All right, and as you can see, we not only have the little testimony, we also have the stats related to the footprint. Now let's go and try and insert this image here. One thing to be aware of is that you don't want to choose an image from this far out, because when you go to Umbra, let's say we input this into Umbra from here, it will display the entire website, not just the image. So let's try and go as far in as possible. This looks pretty good because it's literally just the image. So click the website link, and then actually click the image, open source intelligence. As you can see, we have the information here. Make sure you choose the right data class, that it's related to footprint. Let's move to pen, and let's update Umbra. Refresh. And as you can see, it now shows that there's a URL associated with it. And all you have to do is highlight over the quick view. You can see that there's a chain here showing that something has been added. Click the quick view and it will bring the data up immediately so that you're able to see it. So as you can see, Umbra X is really useful in that it allows you to take different data types all from the same website and never have to leave the website as you go through the data acquisition process. Now that I've shown how to manually input data and use Umbra X to input data directly from the website, I want to show you some fun things we can do with the information related to the targets. So an important thing you can do with targets is establish relations between them, whether they're family, friends, student, teacher. You're able to establish these relations, and then you're able to create a visual so that you can see exactly how everyone's related to everyone else in order to help with data analysis. Now, I want to create a relation between two of the targets in order to establish a relationship between them. So let's go to the most recent target that we created, the Route 410 Bigfoot. Let's go under relations and let's create a relation. Under background, you can choose who you want it to be related to. So let's have it related to the Umbra Bigfoot. And let's just say the role is other because we don't know if it's a family of big feet. We don't know if it's school or work related. I'm assuming they don't have school or work. We can have a description as well. Let's just say 2 Bigfoot sightings in different locations relatively close by. Started on, ended on. Not relevant right now. If you want to add any miscellaneous notes, you can put it here. And let's submit. Oh, small error occurred, but that's fine. Let's just go to the Relations tab up in the top menu because I've already created a couple relations between the other targets that I had created for this. So let's highlight all of them. And here you can see you can actually select the dates between which relevant targets will pop up. So let's say I choose April of 2020 and May of 2020. Only the targets that are relevant for those dates will appear. All right, now let's just submit. And under the About, it will give us which portfolio it's from, as well as the dates reporting, so 1900 to 2021, all of them, I guess. And as you can see here, we can see that there has been a relation established between the Umatia and the Beaver Creek Bigfoot. Here, I labeled it a school relation, and you can see here that since I selected the target, but there was no formal relation established, it's just floating off. But one of the advantages with this is, let's say you have a huge complex map of targets. Now you're able to drag it around and focus on specific areas that you want. So it's really flexible for what we want to do. And next, I want to do a brief look into maps and how they relate to Umbra since we inputted data relating to locations for a couple of the sightings. Now, there's only a couple of things left to touch on for this case study, but there's a small thing that I think is very useful. It's maps. It allows us to take that location information that we put for the Bigfoots and see it on a physical map so we can start visualizing things better. So just click the Maps button on the upper bar, and it's very similar to the Relations where you just select the portfolio, the relevant targets, the dates between which, and then we hit Submit. And again, under About This Map, it's portfolio and based on the data. And once we click the drop down for the target's location map, using Google Maps, it allows us to show how close or how far the Bigfoot sightings were. So here you can actually see that the Bigfoot sightings almost form a little triangle here. So not super close, but these two occur along the National Forest, National Park area right here, while this one's over at this National Forest. So if we were investigating further, maybe we'd look into other sightings in those areas. The final thing I want to share during this Umbra case study is how to generate reports for your portfolio and targets within. It's very similar to set up to the Relations and the Maps feature I just showed you, and like those, you're able to choose specific targets. And this allows you to take all of the information related to the targets you want within a certain date range and put it all into one deliverable. So let's see how that works right now. In order to create a report based off of your portfolio, it's a very easy process. All you have to do is click the Reports button in the upper bar. And very similarly to the Relations and the Maps setup and configuration, highlight the targets you want to include, choose the date range, choose the portfolio, and submit. And as you can see here, under the About, it's very similar to the Relations and Maps About, where it's just the portfolio and the dates. Here you can access the case documents, since we didn't put anything in the triage, and we had something in the leads. You can access it right here. For the targets, you can actually see all of the information you input for the targets here instead of having to flip between them so you can compare them. And next we'll touch on the relations graphs. So as you can see here, we have the exact relations graph that we made in like a couple minutes ago, and you're able to drag these around. You can include whichever targets you want in it. And here we have the map that we created a little bit ago with their locations. So as you can see, the reports function is really useful in being able to collect all of the various things you've created for the case study and have them all in one area to present, or just in order to analyze better. Thank you so much for joining us in this case study in order to show off the functionality of Umbra. If you have any questions, please check out the previous tutorial videos or leave a comment below if there's any topic that we didn't cover. Thank you.